I almost never thought that would even be achievable, and it's not that I didn't think that I could do it, but it just seemed to be so far out there, to go from a girl in Ireland who failed PE to all of a sudden being a WWE superstar is almost inconceivable. And I think I'm so grateful and I'm so appreciative of the fans, because if it wasn't for them, then I wouldn't be able to do what I love. And I think we can never forget that they are the reason that we get to go out there and do what we love, because not everybody gets to do that. And it's incredible, and I think it's just a mutual love and appreciation of each other.
And I always say, Becky, that it seems like it's one up from that, because Milwaukee has that wrestling heritage, and you probably feel that when you get to town and you realize it's Crusher country and certain icons that have come through this place.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And it's incredible to be in the places that have bred the greats. You know, you were telling me about how Ric Flair had his first match in your hometown.
Absolutely, and you remember it.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
It's truly unbelievable, just the heritage and the respect and things like that. The other thing is, I know you're really good friends with Charlotte Flair.
Yes.
And just everything that's gone on with, like you said, Ric Flair, legend in this part and any part of the world. How have you been there for her, and how has that whole situation played out for you, just how difficult that's been?
Well, I've always said this about Charlotte. She's probably the strongest woman that I know, and there's absolutely nothing that can break her. She's like the Terminator. So no matter what she's going through, she's always able to put on a brave face and go out there and do what she needs to do. And luckily, Ric Flair she doesn't pick that up off the ground. He's the strongest man I know, and he's always able to kick out, and thankfully he's doing great, and they've got their book coming out, and he's got 30 for 30 coming out, and it's a great time for the Flair family.
And people always ask, Becky, I mean, that shows you just the respect that family has, that he has, that she has, that people always ask me, how's he doing or what's going on? Yeah,
yeah. Oh, he's so loved. He is so loved, and he's such a great man, because I come over here from a different country, and he has been so gracious and taking me under his wing and treating me like part of the family, you know, and that's been wonderful.
What excited you? I know this has been your dream for a long, long time, but I think, you know, Mick Foley was a guy that you watched when you were growing up. Other divas that maybe meant something to you, like Lita as well. What did those people teach you?
So what Mick Foley taught me was the power of vulnerability. Right, because he would come out and he's not your typical muscle-bound superstar. He's maybe sometimes a little disheveled and very sympathetic, but he had that passion and that drive and that love for what we do and the sport. And regardless of whether he was the favourite to win, and often he was the underdog, but you believed in everything that he said that he was going to do, because he had that heart. And that was something that appealed to me from when I was a young age, and I would see him and I felt the sympathy for him, and I just wanted to see him succeed. And for me, I always wanted to hear what he had to say, because his promos were just so engaging, and yeah, he just showed so much heart and so much passion. And even though he wasn't naturally athletically gifted, like myself, who failed PE, he did the best with what he had. And I think that's a really important message just for anybody to take on board, that you mightn't always have the best ability or the most natural talent, but if you work hard and you persevere, no matter what, if you're passionate about something, you can get there.
I always say, Becky, nobody can outwork you. Somebody can have more talent, somebody can have more whatever you want to say, charisma, whatever. Nobody outworks you, because you determine how hard you work. And that's probably the way you go about it too.
Exactly. Yeah, and actually that's one of the greatest things about being best friends with Charlotte, because she works so hard and I work so hard, and the two of us have this great bond, but this competitive nature where we just always want to be working the hardest. So I think we always push each other.
And it shows in the women's division. I mean, some of those matches are, I can say it, they're the best matches. people gravitate to those matches. You've got to be very proud of what you've built.
Oh, absolutely. And that was my sole ambition coming over to the WWE, was that I wanted to make women's wrestling the thing to watch. I wanted it to be the cool thing, and that women and men and everything had different female characters that they either loved or that they hated, but just something that they would gravitate towards. And I wanted the women's storylines to be something that people got emotionally invested in. And I think that had been lacking. And to change the term from divas back to women, that was a great victory for me, because the Divas brand did a lot for the women at the time, but for me it was something that I couldn't relate to. I couldn't necessarily call myself a diva because I don't really exude divaness. So for me that was a big feat.
Would you recommend putting the disarmer on a coworker? I've got a couple of people in mind, or would that take me to the HR office right off the bat?
It's the cure to all your problems.
Oh,
no, I'm
good.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Good.
Don't try this at home.
I'll try that out this afternoon.
Don't try this at home.
But I like the fact that when you're out there, there's a fire, there's a passion. It's clear to see from people that see you, know that you have experienced what you bring.
It's the fiery redhead in me, I guess. You know, you can't tame the flame. That's what I like to say.
You got to trademark that phrase. I like that. Would you ever consider a different hair color then?
Would I? So I'll tell you something for nothing. The maintenance of this is
difficult.
Yeah, anytime I see a little kid that comes up to me and they're like, I want to have your hair color. No, don't ruin your beautiful hair. So yes, it's my trademark and it's something, but it's a lot of maintenance, and that bleach burns.
Oh,
it burns.
but you're a rule breaker, a risk taker, and a game changer.
Yes, that's what I like to say. Yep.
Wow.
Break the rules, take those risks, and change the game.
And what did it mean to be the first women's champion on SmackDown?
That meant everything to me, because when I was drafted to SmackDown Live, I just wanted to make sure that was the brand to watch, and that was the division to watch, and I wanted to make sure, again, like I said, that people get emotionally invested in the storylines. And when I came out there, they first announced that the women's there was going to be the SmackDown Women's Championship, and the whole arena started chanting my name. Well, there's not a better feeling in the world, because when I came in as part of this women's revolution, if you want to call it that, I was seen as the underdog and maybe sometimes the afterthought, and well, that's just fuel to the fire.
Absolutely.
The straight fire.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I've thought about is you were trained by Finn Balor, you got Sheamus in there. Irish wrestling, it's going right now.
Oh, it really is. It really is. And it's crazy, because when I first started wrestling, the notion that I would be a WWE superstar wasn't even in my my field of vision, because that was just too far off. And it's not that I didn't think that I could achieve it, it's just there was no role models that I had to look at. And I think it's really great that people back home in Ireland now can look at myself and Finn and Sheamus and say, okay, yeah, we can do it too. I think that's awesome, and we all came up at the same time. I was there on the very first day that Finn Balor opened that school in Ireland, and then I remember going to Sheamus's first match, actually in the school hall of where I was in high school.
Wow.
Yeah, which is crazy. I remember him coming out with this floppy orange hair, but he was like built like a tank, and we didn't really see that in Ireland. Yeah. Normally, you know, we're not naturally built as big as that. And I saw him coming out, and I knew he would go places.
Final thing is, can you try to behave yourself a little bit on SmackDown Live? I know it gets a little crazy out there.
Well, I can behave myself on SmackDown Live, but when it comes to invading Raw, I will not. I will not. I will not be tamed.
There is a little invasion angle going on right now. Things are getting a little heated out there.
Yes, we went to Raw yesterday in Green Bay, and we put our foot down. We let them know who is going to be victorious at Survivor Series.
Wow.
Yeah, I was fired up.
Those battle lines are drawn.
Fired up.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Nobody was spared. Nobody.
She seems nice, but she's starting to scare me a little bit right now.
You should be scared. Raw should be scared.
Yes, they should.
Yeah.
Survivor Series not that far away.
Nope, 4 weeks.
Unbelievable.
Maybe
all right.
a little less.
Thank
you so much for having me.
Thank you for the time.
Appreciate it.
Oh, no
Cheers.
problem. WWE Superstar Becky Lynch right here in today's TMJ4.